It's 12 noon and this is Midday Live from the News Hub here at Adesawe in Kanda, Accra. My name is Efua Teku. The headlines this afternoon. Officials of the National Identification Authority failed to turn up in Parliament House to register MPs for the Ghana card. Scores of producers of footwear within Asokwa municipality of the Ashanti region protest a planned relocation exercise by the Assembly. And on the foreign front, war of words erupts between the US and its G7 allies after apparent show of unity. We have all these details and more coming up in the next 1 hour. Do stay with us. Now, our very first story, scores of producers of footwear within the Asokwa municipality of the Ashanti region are protesting a planned relocation exercise by the Assembly. They say any attempt to relocate them from their current location to the new Agogo community market will be resisted. Ashanti regional correspondent Beatrice Spiogabra joins us for details on reasons for the protest.
At Atonsu Market are protesting against a planned relocation. They are saying that before the market was reconstructed, they were asked to move down here, and the new market has been completed and handed over to the traders. And the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly is saying that they would want to relocate them again to construct a good market shed for them. But the traders or the shoemakers are protesting. As to why they are protesting, I have their chairman here who explained to us why they are protesting against a planned relocation by the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly. Chairman, why are you resisting attempts to relocate for a modern market to be constructed for you?
Yes, we are protesting not to construct the place for us because they told us that the market they constructed, what they told the market women, they did not fulfill their promise. So if you give our place to them to construct, they won't fulfill it.
Where you are now is not in very good condition. So why wouldn't you sit down with the authorities and come to an agreement so that when they finish, there will be a way to pay installment so that you have a good market as the traders have now? Why can't you sit down with the authorities?
The reason why I'm saying that, I'm saying this in account, is because we have seen that they have done similar thing to the traders. So we know that if we agree for them to do to construct our place for us, they will do the same for us. That's why all of us don't agree for them to construct the place.
So how would you make your place very modern and attractive? Will you do it yourself as an association?
Yes, we will make we will be unite and construct it for ourselves. So it's a plan. Now we are going to do election for ourselves to elect leaders who will cater for the place and make it good for us to live.
All right. So that is the chairman of the Atonsu Agogo Shoemakers Association, who, with his members, are saying that they will resist any attempt by the assembly to relocate them to a different place for this market to be reconstructed for them. Their reason is that they cannot afford how much they will be charged. So for them, they will construct their own market at a cost that they think that they can afford. From Atonsu Market, Beatrice Spiogabra, TV3.
Well, still in Kumasi, plastic litter is a permanent eyesore in the Ashanti regional capital. Images of streets, drains and river bodies in Kumasi littered with plastic waste speak of a nation that has not done enough for the environment and sanitation sector. A report by Benjamin Edu.
Ghana is joining the rest of the world to commemorate World Environment Day under the theme Beating Plastic Pollution. The platform for action is encouraging worldwide awareness for the protection of the environment. An estimated 22,000 tons of plastic waste is generated annually in Ghana. Only 2% is recycled, with the rest finding their way to landfill sites, while others land in water bodies, gutters and streets. Walking the streets of the once famed Garden City of Kumasi, one is overwhelmed by the volume of litter across the city. Solid and liquid waste choke both open and closed drains, with its attendant health and environmental consequences. Despite huge investments by city authorities to manage waste, little impact has been made. The Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly currently owe contractors nearly 64 million Ghana cedis, and the debt is growing. In the recent past, pressure has mounted on the government to have the political will to ban plastic usage, but the call appears to be a remote possibility. Some environmentalists have therefore called for the application of the polluter pays principle, an environmental law that makes the one responsible for producing pollution to pay for the damage done to the natural environment. Nana Jomo Sapong is president of Friends of Rivers and Water Bodies.
As a country, we should change our habits. We should enforce our laws. We should make sure that we don't make laws only for the status book. The biggest challenge of this nation is that we make laws for the status book. Others have been able to, attempting to do. We are doing nothing about this plastic pollution. We don't do anything about it. We only talk about it.
Nana Sapong called on the people to stop polluting the environment.
It must be an agenda of the media, of the civil society, all of us, of the politicians. The politicians should speak about it on a daily basis. So we should have an agenda for the environment. This pollution is going into the water, is going into the sea, is going into the rivers, is choking the gutters, is causing flooding, is causing so many problems.
Now let's return to the national capital, as Parliament is expected to be the second institution after the Jubilee House to be registered by the National Identification Authority for the Ghana card. The exercise was expected to have started today but could not take place as officials or the NIA did not show up as planned. Kwabena Edujemfi was earlier in Parliament and has more details.
By the minority members of Parliament that they were not going to take part in the Ghana card registration process. We are currently coming to you live from the Parliament House, specifically the chamber block, where the exercise is expected to take place. But then as I speak to you now, we can see some chairs neatly arranged here, but then there is no indication that the process will be taking place, because before we even got here, we had the opportunity to go to the foyer of the Parliament House to find out if at all the officials there have any information as to when the process will be starting. But then what they told us was that last week Friday, the officials from the National Identification Authority came around, and they came specifically to the foyer to do a test to find out if the network will be favorable for them when they come today. But then it's past 10 already, and there is no indication at all that these officials will be coming around for the process to start. We've been trying as much as possible to see if we can get any of the minority members of Parliament to talk to, but then we've been here for close to 2 hours, and then we've not seen any around at all. But then some media men are also around, and just like the expectation that the process will be taking place today, they're also here waiting for the process to start. But then the day is still young, and probably we are hoping that before the day comes to an end, the process will take place.
As we are concerned, whether they are here or not, we are not taking part. So if there's their personal reason they are not here, that is none of my business. Once I'm not taking part, whether they are here or here is none of my business. As far as we know that Parliament is to meet NIA before we register.
Registration of the Ghana card was supposed to have started 2 weeks ago, and the Parliament House was part of the few institutions that was supposed to take part in the process. But due to some technical challenges, the process could not take place. Now, it is not clear the reason for which this time around it is not taking place, but probably it could be as a result of the fact that the minority side of Parliament is boycotting the process. For TV3, Kwabena Edujemfi, Parliament.
Also, still on this issue, the minority caucus in Parliament yesterday issued a statement indicating a boycott of the exercise. The statement released, signed by the minority leader Haruna Idrisu, cited some reasons, including significant questions about the cost, scope and legality of the project, as well as registration requirements. Now, the minority said it remains opposed to the restriction of identification requirements for registration to passports and birth certificates, as this will prevent about 23 million Ghanaians from obtaining the Ghana card and deprive them of any benefit thereof. Minority Chief Whip Muntaka Mubarak spoke to my colleague Isamoni on News 360 yesterday.
You have raised questions about the cost, scope and legality of the project, but would you be able to break them down for our understanding?
Well, like you rightly said, and you saw our statement. First, the challenge we have is that on 2 occasions, the National Identification Authority had not been able to appear before the House. I don't want to say they refused, because we sent them invitation that Parliament wanted to interact with them about the process, about the costing and all the other issues. And the last 2 weeks, just at the nick of time, they called us, they said they were not able to come. So they were pleading that we should schedule for last week. We agreed and scheduled for last week. All of a sudden, last week, Thursday, they came again that unfortunately they are not able to come to meet members of Parliament, but they will be willing to do it on Tuesday. Suddenly, we heard after Friday we closed that tomorrow they are starting the registration in Parliament. And this is shocking to us. For 2 weeks, we cannot find time to come and meet parliamentarians to ask the relevant issues concerning the whole process. Because, my brother, as we may see in our statement, that they are talking about 1.2 billion. We have document that shows that they are talking about 1.4 billion. We have document that shows that they have given sovereign guarantee. We have document that shows that they are dealing with an international company. All this requires that they come before Parliament. And we wanted to get this clarification from them. Yet, they've gone ahead to start the process without coming to see Parliament. And now, I mean, to mock us, they are bringing it to our doorsteps so that you get us registered. So when we are talking about why have they not appeared before Parliament, they say, but you've also registered. We are not going to be part of that exercise.
So away from this issue, the former Chief Executive Officer of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, Dr. Felix Anya, who was sacked by the President, is expected to hand over all documents today. A ceremony is being held in that regard at the hospital. Some heads of departments have already gathered at the Kolebu Accident Center to witness the handing over ceremony. Dr. Anya is handing over to Dr. Samuel Isiama, who will be acting CEO for Kolebu. My colleague Daniel Poko is there and joins me on the line. Good afternoon to you, Daniel.
Yeah, good afternoon, Sarah.
Now, so has Dr. Anya spoken yet, and what has he been saying?
Let me hear you again.
Has Dr. Anya spoken yet at this ceremony?
Yes, he has. In fact, he organized a handing over ceremony for himself and the next person who is supposed to take over him. So, in his statement, he said that actually he's shocked and disappointed that he has been asked to leave because he served for just 1 year. He came into office last year, June, and exactly a year on, he has to be asked to go. He will also itemize the various achievements that he's done at Kolebu Teaching Hospital, trying to restore 2 major oxygen plants, which cost him over 72,000 euros, and also trying to repaint the entire Kolebu, trying to retransform the entire Kolebu, and most importantly, him not taking salary or not receiving allowances or per diem whenever he had to travel outside the country. All these things that Tanya itemized in his statement, even though he was very sad and very sorrowful, he implored the next administration, those who be taken away from him, to be able to transform the course that he has signed for those who be taken over from him. And also called for a proper policy guidelines to regulate activities of Kolebu. He said during his 1 year period, what he realized was that Kolebu does not have a proper policy to regulate most of its work. For instance, the various departments do not have a proper policy to regulate. And Kolebu also is seen as a center of excellence which does not have a policy to indeed indicate that Kolebu it's a center of excellence. So Dr. Anya is saying that all these should be able to be fashioned out by the new person who will be taking over from him.
So what can you tell us also about staff reaction? Because earlier, some weeks back, we got to know that some of the staff demonstrated against his sacking. What can you tell us about their body language? Yes.
Right. Some currently this morning, even though they are very sad, but somehow in a joyous mood, they are wishing the man goodbye. They have also actually congratulated and appreciated what the man did for the 1 year period. Last week, some of them put on red bands trying to protest this dismissal. But today, this morning, as I speak to you, they have come to terms with the dismissal. The man clearly certainly has to go. And in the ceremony, they are displaying some kind of joyous mode, trying to wish the man goodbye. And our investigations indicate that Dr. Samuel Esiama will be acting CEO for Kolebu, who will be taking over. He will be taking over from Dr. Anya.
Can you tell us something about Dr. Esiama briefly?
Right. Dr. Esiama previously has been a director of medical services. He also became an acting CEO when Reverend Bochi was then the CEO with and asked the board chairman. So when Reverend Bochi left office, Dr. Samuel Esiama was made to be the acting CEO before Dr. Bako took over as the CEO of Kolebu. Dr. Bako is no more. Dr. Anya took over as the CEO. He's also going. So Dr. Samuel Esiama is now going to be an acting CEO for Kolebu. In the previous CEOs, Dr. Samuel Esiama was the one in charge of a trust fund which was set up by Kolebu for them to accumulate funds and help emergency cases. Dr. Samuel Esiama was the one who was solely in charge of that one. So he'll be taking over from Dr. Felix Anya.
Thank you very much. Daniel Poko is my colleague, and he's at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, where a handing over ceremony is being held for Dr. Felix Anya. Now, on to some more news. An MP for Mion, Mohammed Abdulaziz, has hinted there may be truth in Nyantechi's elaborate plan to get contracts for the investors to the president in Anas's expose. Mohammed Abdulaziz comments incited an uproar as a fellow panelist on TV3's New Day on Monday, Alexander Fenyomarkin, claimed the allegations being leveled against the president were just unfair, as they were based on pure malicious speculations.
He's talking about the executive president of the land. What do you expect him to say? He can only accept personal responsibility.
So you're not saying that he's not saying the truth?
I have doubts about it. Even when you watch the video, towards the end of the video, the president and the vice president were given an opportunity to react to it. And all that the president said was that he has no knowledge of what Mr. Nyantechi was doing, and that he had never engaged him on that matter. And I asked myself, you don't expect the president to admit to some of these wrongdoings. In fact, it is public knowledge that Mr. Nyantechi is a close pal to Mr. President. He could not have been speaking out of a vacuum.
You cannot in one breath say that you don't want to do partisan.
His opinion is partisan?
Hold on. And then you also end up in speculation, and you impugn improper motive here. If you say somebody has made a statement and he says, look, I made this statement, I lied, I apologize, I retract, that is it.
He doesn't have the opinion to say that he doesn't trust that statement.
Hold on. If you say you don't trust, you doubt the man.
Exactly.
What you are doing is that you are shifting to say that the other person against whom a statement was made knows something about it. And I think that
is that a possibility or not?
Please.
No, is that a possibility or not?
It is not a probability. It's not probable. We are dealing with probabilities here.
Well, meanwhile, the Member of Parliament for Mio Abdulaziz has called on government to feed the public with detailed accounts on the work of Operation Vanguard in the fight against galamsey across the country. Speaking earlier on TV3's New Day, he was of the view government cannot solicit support from the public without providing evidence of the outcome of the team's operations so far.
The issue of galamsey is a very worrying issue. We are aware of some task force that was put in place, the Operation Vanguard, to fight the issue of galamsey. The issue has been put on some back burner for some time now. We haven't heard from the Operation Vanguard what successes they may have recorded, and so it will be proper if they get back to us for us to know how far they are faring with the fight against galamsey. We all have a duty as citizens of this country to help fight galamsey because of its enormous effects on our water bodies, on the entire ecosystem, and on our lives. And so I would wish the government well, and I would only call for a feedback. Let us know from the Operation Vanguard what successes they may have recorded so far, and whatever support that they need. I think the Ghanaian public should be ready to support them.
You watch Midday Live on TV3. Do stay with us. We'll be back shortly. Welcome back to Midday Live, and on MTN Video Report, our citizen journalist Ben Ahmed reports on the state of the main Kaswa Nyenyano Road.
This is main Kaswa Nyenyano Road. The construction started since 2016. And after the handing over, we don't know what is happening to the contractor. We are left with only the dust. My name is Ben Ahmed.
Very much, but now you can also send your video reports via our number 05514330044. That's 05514330044. You're watching Midday Live on TV3. It's now time for business.
The business news segment is brought to you by MTN, Universal Merchant Bank.
An analysis of the debt portfolio has shown that the cedi's recent fluctuation poses a big risk to government's debt sustainability agenda due to high exposure of the nation's public debt to foreign investors. Despite government reducing the component of foreign debts due to high exposure to foreign investors, any depreciation in the local currency automatically increases the debt stock even if there is no new borrowing.
2017, external debt constituted 53% of the total debt portfolio, which was down from 56% in 2016, while US dollar-dominated debt formed 65% of the external debt stock, which also dropped marginally from 69% in 2016. Last week, the bond market experienced a significant sell-off, with prices for most of Ghana's bonds tumbling greatly, and this, according to analysts, is mainly the result of foreign investors dumping frontier and emerging market bonds in anticipation of higher dollar treasury yields. As at May 7, according to the Bank of Ghana, the cedi was trading at 4 cedis, 41 pesos to a dollar, but by June 7, it had depreciated by 0.7% to 4 cedis, 40 pesos. On the Forex Bureau market, the local currency has depreciated by 1.1% over the same period. Even though the central bank has assured the market that the depreciation is temporary and it is working around the clock to stem the slide, analysts believe that unless government significantly reduces the foreign debt component of public debt, its efforts will amount to little. The cedi was on a positive ride with 0.26% appreciation in the first quarter of this year. Also, the central bank has noted that rising oil prices and the recent launch of MTN's initial public offering have had some effect on the local currency due to the fact that 3.48 billion Ghana cedis is to be raised will be used to settle shareholders who mostly reside outside the country.
The Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture, Catherine Afiku, has refuted claims that the creative arts industry is on the verge of collapse. She acknowledged there were challenges confronting the industry, but the ministry is adopting a comprehensive policy framework to correct the problems.
The tourism industry has made significant strides over the past decade, growing by 12% to become the third foreign exchange earner for the country. The sector has attracted substantial investments in accommodation, restaurant and fast food businesses, travel and tour agencies and craft businesses. Reports indicate that the country is showing strong potential to become one of the most preferred destinations in West Africa. Speaking at the Technical Universities and Polytechnics and University of Maryland Eastern Shore USA Partnership Program Forum in Accra, the Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture, Catherine Afeku, said despite strides made, Ghana's tourism industry still needs improvement and capitalization.
We tend to focus on manufacturing, education, health, but tourism, and I'm happy I heard earlier on, can be a catalyst for job creation if we harness the potential.
She called for joint public and private sector collaboration and urged operators in the industry to respond by providing professional services. The Deputy Minister of Education in charge of technical, vocational education and training, Barbara Esi, believes the introduction of hospitality and tourism management courses at the basic level of education can improve the industry.
Almost all of vocational and technical schools in this country, especially the private ones, have collapsed. That is why we are poised to revamping all the technical and vocational schools in our country.
The rectors of technical universities and polytechnics in Ghana called on government to formalize policies and measures to improve the performance of the industry.
We can no longer go the way we have been going, because if that way was the best, the country would have been transformed. So the onus of responsibility lies on the technical universities to do things differently from what they used to do before.
You're watching Midday Live on TV3, and we want you to stay interactive with us through our social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TV3 Ghana. And you can also go to 3news.com if you want some more news. Now to some more stories, and farmers within Gomwa, Kranza and the neighboring communities have called on government to consider constructing a dam in the area to enhance their farming activities. The farmers believe agriculture is the backbone of every economy, hence it will be prudent for government to break barriers on the country's agricultural system in order to boost the sector. Lucy Ayambila has filed this report.
Kranza is a farming community within the Gomwa West district of the Central Region. Farmers in this community and the adjoining ones have their farming seasons determined by the rainfall pattern. They count losses when the rains fail or the rainfall pattern changes. The farmers say some of their colleagues are chased by banks because they are unable to pay back their loans.
When we visited our farm field, we have been able to create links to all the processing areas or our working areas. So it means the government have to help the young ones like this to get machinery. If it is credit facility, I think it can work.
Another major setback is the poor road network in these areas. Roads leading to farms are in bad shape, thereby preventing drivers from plying them. Due to the rough and hilly nature of the road, we constantly had to get down from the motorized tricycle for easy movements and get on board at vantage points. Some of the farmers spoke to TV3 News.
The roads leading to our farms are in deplorable states and need attention. Getting access to land for farming is also a problem.
Farmers have to go through difficulties in transporting their farm produce to market centers. At a point in time, the motorized tricycle we were using got stuck, and I had to control the handlebars of the tricycle whilst the men pushed. Lucy Ayambila, TV3 News, Gomwa, Kranza.
The Lands Commission in the Eastern Region has been accused of fraudulently registering the Nyanwa Mountains in Insaom Adwedri municipality in the name of a private developer. Documents cited by TV3 show the Lands Commission has given varying assertions on the same land from 2010, indicating its availability for business. The Commission turned round to caution the owners that the same land had been registered in the year 2000.
The available document produced by the affected landowners of the Nyano Mountain in the Insawom Edreji municipality, a search conducted on the land at the Eastern Regional Lands Commission November 2010, September 2016, March 2017, and twice in February 2018, gave different status to the land in the name of the people of Nyanwa. These searches were in lieu of a development plan to turn the Nyano Mountain into a tourist site in partnership with foreign investors. However, few weeks after the people had entered a deal with the investors based on the signed document from the Lands Commission, they received a caution notice from the Commission that the entire land was registered by an estate developer as far back as the year 2000. The Insawom District Police, acting upon complaints from the Nyanwa people, made a research from the Lands Commission on May 29, 2018, where it was revealed that the Lands Commission and a developer fraudulently extended 70 acres of land bought from another community to cover the Nyano Mountain land.
Who actually sold that landed properties to them? If we, the owners, were those who sold the land, they should show us and all authorities concerned that signed the indenture, the payment he or they made to us, and a receipt we issued to them, and who issued and signed such receipt. When and where that transaction occurred, and who were witnesses. Are those who signed the indenture lawfully representatives of the families? If not, Amin City should write without delay to Lands Commission at Koforidua to completely reverse the situation.
In their caution statement to the police, the adjoining landowners admitted selling the 70 acres and wondered how that could turn into 620.01 acres. The investor, according to the police report, has refused to honor invitations to give a statement to the police.
Our properties include our village have been fraudulently registered by Amin City, being aided by the Lands Commission authorities at Koforidua. Even police criminal investigation report reveals that the vendors who signed the indenture for Amin City sold less than 70 acres of land, which is not even near our land.
The people of Nyanwa have therefore petitioned the office of the President, the Chief Justice, the Attorney General, the Land Minister, the IGP and Land Commission, among others, after which they will seek legal redress.
Well, then that's it for business, but now on to some more news. Access to healthcare delivery has been a challenge for residents of Anansu in the Ichimampunya district of the Ashanti region. The community now heaves a sigh of relief with the activation of a community-based health planning services CHIPS compound. A report by Ibrahim Abubakar.
Anansu is a small community with farming as the only means of livelihood for residents. Due to the absence of health facility, most residents resort to traditional herbal treatment. Residents say lives have been lost in the community because people resorted to self-medication. The sick had to be rushed to the Jiresu Health Center, which is about 10 kilometers away from the community. Some patients who required emergency clinical attention died on their way to a long-distance nearby health center. The Chumamponua District Assembly in 2016 constructed a community-based health planning services CHIPS compound to serve the health needs of the people. But the facility remained closed due to lack of medical equipment to run it. The United States Agency for International Development, USAID, has intervened to provide the facility with medical supplies. USAID representative Pius Kaba Afipuga said over 500,000 Ghana cedis has been invested to refurbish 5 CHIPS compounds in the Ashanti region.
As part of our project mandate, we have what we call fixed amount award.
that we give out to regions and then some PPME to support them in their activities.
The assemblyman for the area, Ernest Arthur, expressed gratitude for the intervention.
Our traveling time to access healthcare is going to be reduced considerably because the health service has been brought to us. So those problems are not going to be a problem. Even if they can't help, they can refer the patient to the nearest health service. So our problem has reduced for now.
District Director of Health Services, George Kwejo Che Fram, said the activation of the CHIPS compound is timely to enhance efforts at providing door-to-door health services to the people. He called on government to provide more of such facilities to deprived communities in the district.
We are so faced with geographical accessibility gap because the entire district, traversing so many square miles, has just 16 health facilities. 1 hospital, 7 health centers, and then 6 compounds and maternity homes. And this has brought a relief to those in the Anansu zone. We are still craving for more facilities, so that, particularly with the chiefs, so that the health service will be brought closer to the people.
The community is optimistic the facility would ease the stress of traveling to Jireso for healthcare services.
All technical universities and polytechnics in Ghana have signed a memorandum of understanding with the University of Maryland Eastern Shore, USA, to offer opportunity to the technical universities and polytechnics for exchange programs in hospitality and tourism management. The agreement is aimed at enhancing technical universities' capacity for sustainable human formation and training.
The authorities of technical universities and polytechnics in Ghana said the union will produce a critical mass of scholars to significantly strengthen human capacity in hospitality and tourism management. Authorities said the Memorandum of Understanding will allow the schools to be better positioned to obtain institutional accreditation from the international body.
It is reflected, properly integrated in our budgets, so that when it comes to staff exchange and participation in the training, the initial difficulties that we had will not be repeated.
They stressed the agreement will provide hands-on experience for students and heighten their chances of getting employed after school.
The professionalization and the certification of our faculty will continue to serve as the catalyst for all other opportunities that the technical universities will tap into.
Well, still on education, the lack of adequate teaching and learning materials is affecting the quality of education in the Guabuliga community. Eva Atibuka reports that the District Education Service has not delivered teaching and learning materials to schools in the region in years.
The lack of furniture in schools for kindergarten and primary compels pupils to sit and write on the floor, while other pupils share a desk at the junior high school. Learning and teaching materials are also absent. At the kindergarten and primary levels, slates and copybooks are not available. At the junior high school, teachers say textbooks are also non-existent, contributing greatly to falling education standards.
Textbooks, no, all that. To talk of English, they are not even 10, up to 10. Maths to the same thing. And the other subjects, some are even none we don't just have.
Hajia Misa Sulemana is the District Director of Education.
For some time now, we haven't been able to give schools the needed books. Most of our schools still use the very old textbooks that do not match with our syllabus of late.
Brave Erura based on TV3's reportage on the plight of the peoples, has donated 3,000 textbooks to the kindergarten, primary and the junior high.
We want to achieve educational outcomes for the people here. We feel that the community has a lot of potential, the children have a lot of potential, and it saddens us to go into their classrooms every day to see them lying on their bellies to write and to read, and it's also taxing for the teachers as well. And then our hopes is to make Gwabliga School a model school in the municipality.
Live on TV3. Do stay tuned. We'll be back.
Thanks for staying with us on Midday Live. My name is Anako Joafre with a sports update this afternoon. Let's get into the details now. An embattled former Ghana Football Association president, Kwesi Nyantakyi, has stepped down as vice president of the Confederation of African Football. This comes days after announcing his resignation as GFA president after he was seen on camera receiving cash gift of $65,000, which is against the rules of the association. Kwesi Nyantakyi's conduct in the video had him attract a 90-day ban from World Football Governing Body FIFA and would not be available for Wednesday's June 13th World Cup bid vote. Meanwhile, the owner of WA Ulsters has denied any wrongdoing and says he was scammed by a group of fake investors who were Tiger IPI's undercover journalists. However, CAF will host an extraordinary congress to replace ex-Ghana FA boss on the FIFA Council on September 30. At the moment, all football activities in Ghana has been halted due to the massive rot uncovered in the country's most beloved game. Meanwhile, the Ghana Football Association Ethics Committee, headed by Director of the Police Intelligence and Professional Standards Bureau, PIPS, COP Kofi Boakye, is to look into the allegations of bribery and corruption against some officials of the association. COP Boakye, who has chaired the GFA Ethics Committee since 2016, will lead investigations into the conduct of the FA officials who were caught on tape by Anas Aremayao Anas and his Tiger IPI team.
The GFA's decision was contained in a statement issued after a meeting by its executive committee on Saturday, June 9, following the public viewing of an investigative film by Ghanaian journalist Anas Aremayao Anas that highlighted deep-seated corruption in Ghana football. The conduct of the said officials has been referred to the GFA Ethics Committee, chaired by COP Kofi Boakye, to go through the judicial process. All officials of the GFA shown to have allegedly committed various acts of misconduct in the Tiger IPI documentary titled Number 12 shall step aside from their positions and steer away from all football-related activities with immediate effect. Anas's video featured top officials of the Football Association, including its former president, Kwesi Nyantakyi, allegedly taking bribes to influence various aspects of the game, among other things. More than 100 referees were also caught on tape taking bribes to manipulate the outcome of games in a team's favor. The government announced on Thursday that it had initiated steps to have the FA dissolved, but the GFA has started internal processes to clean itself. The FA has also constituted a 5-member committee to meet the government in order to resolve the current football crisis in the country. COP Kofi Boakye has a great reputation for his tough, no-nonsense approach to dealing with crime.
And the back and forth between Pep Guardiola and Yaya Toure continues because the Man City man has angrily rejected Yaya Toure's accusations he is racist towards African players as lies. Guardiola has finally answered Toure's claims he did not pick his last season as Manchester City because he is black. The City boss, who is relaxing back in Spain, was staggered by Toure's bitter attack on him and insisted the one-time Blues hero knows his claims are untrue. Toure said it is a lie and he knows it, Guardiola told Spain's TV3. We were together for 2 years, and now this is when he says it. He never told me face to face. That is according to Guardiola Toure, who has left City after his contract expired in sore because Guardiola only handed him 1 Premier League start last season, and says the former Barcelona boss was cruel towards him. And that's all the sports here on Midday Live. My name is Anako Jaffe. Thanks very much for watching. Always a pleasure serving you. Entertainment news is next with Ifwa.
Well, celebrated Nigerian musician Wizkid and Ghanaian hitmaker Shatta Wale smoked the peace pipe. In November 2017, Shatta Wale jabbed Wizkid, noting he does not consider Wizkid a superstar as there is nothing extraordinary about him. The comments sparked a feud between them. Owusu-Arai, however, reports Wizkid surprised patrons of the 2018 Ghana Meets Niger, inviting and reuniting with Shatta Wale.
Comments by acclaimed musician Shatta Wale that he doesn't see Wizkid as a superstar triggered the feud. I will not see Wizkid and be stunned. I rather want him to see me and be amazed because I don't see anything extraordinary about him, even though he claims to be the best African artist, Shatta noted in an interview. Pissed by perceptions that Nigerian musicians are better than their Ghanaian counterparts, Shatta Wale, considered one of Ghana's most consistent hitmakers, felt Ghanaian artists needed to respect themselves and stop rating Nigerian musicians as better acts. He followed up with a diss song, Disaster, directed at Wizkid.
I go show Wizkid. No be only music with the fight Tai Chi. Okay, forget that superstar thing. Your superstar self like sardine. If Wizkid be your god, me I don't know. See this solo, should they make two no?
Angered by the developments, some Nigerians took to social media to rant. To them, Wizkid is incomparable. It, however, came to patrons of the 2018 Ghana Meets Niger concert as a surprise when Wizkid invited Shatta Wale to join him on stage.
I have my brother with me in the house tonight.
Shatta Wale applauded the move.
Let me tell you something. They always say Shatta Wale can't do this. But I want you to know that today I have to see Wizkid for you. Wizkid is my fucking blood. That's my fucking blood. If I say Wizkid is superstar, then Shatta Wale do is fucking superstar. Oh, boss, ever. Just let me know when you're
To Wizkid, unity is key if African music and musicians are to make inroads on the world stage.
Together we push. One Africa, one love. Big shout out to Shatta Wale, one love to Shatta Wale. One love to Ghana, one love to Nigeria. Africans in the world, man.
Up next is international news. A war of words has erupted between the U.S. and its G7 allies hours after the group had put on an apparent show of unity at the end of a tense summit. U.S. President Donald Trump has continued his personal attacks against Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, tweeting that he acted hurt when called out.
Ms. Angela Merkel said Mr. Trump's decision to reject a joint communique was sobering and depressing. That statement had sought to overcome deep disagreements, notably over trade. In recent weeks, trading partners of the United States have criticized new tariffs on steel and aluminium imports imposed by the Trump administration. In a news conference after the summit, the Canadian leader reasserted his opposition to the U.S. tariffs and vowed to press ahead with retaliatory moves on July 1. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau stressed Canadians are polite and reasonable, but they will also not be pushed around. Mr. Trump responded by tweeting en route to his next summit in Singapore that he had instructed U.S. officials not to endorse the communique as they look at tariffs on automobiles. He said the move was based on Mr. Trudeau's false statements and the fact that Canada is charging massive tariffs to U.S. farmers, workers, and companies.
And that's all for Midday Live on TV3. Thank you so much for staying with us. And also for more news, do go to 3news.com. We also want to hear from you, so do stay interactive on all our social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at TV3 Ghana. My name is Efua Tieko. Good afternoon.